All right, let's jump right into this. Welcome to our definitive explainer on prompt engineering. Today, we're taking you from a total beginner to a confident, practical expert. If you've ever felt completely frustrated because an AI gave you generic, robotic fluff when you actually wanted a polished draft, or maybe it totally ignored your formatting requests, yeah, this is for you. We're going to completely demystify how these models actually work, give you the exact frameworks to get precisely what you want every single time, and we're going to do it all right here.
We've got a highly structured curriculum today. 1. Foundations of prompt engineering. 2. Core prompting techniques. 3. Advanced prompting strategies. And 4. Common mistakes and fixes.
Section 1. Foundations of prompt engineering.
Okay, the absolutely crucial point to realize before we even look at a specific prompt is this. A model's brilliance, or its total uselessness, depends entirely on the clarity, context, and structure of your instructions. It's almost never the model failing, it's the prompt. You really have to understand that AI isn't actually thinking like you or I do. At their core, large language models, or LLMs, are just highly advanced text prediction engines. They are mathematically guessing the next word based on the information they're fed. And that information, that is called context. What's wild is that by default, a model actually has zero memory. When you're using a chat interface, the system is silently injecting your past conversation history behind the scenes just to give the illusion of memory. So prompt engineering is essentially programming in natural language. You are carefully crafting that context to shape the exact prediction the model makes next.
And this comparison brilliantly illustrates the night and day difference in how you approach it. A commanding prompt, like just saying, write something about our product, forces the model to guess your intent, which is a guaranteed recipe for generic filler. Instead, you need steering. Listen to this. You are a senior B2B copywriter. Write a 2-sentence LinkedIn ad for our project management SaaS. Audience, ops managers. Tone, confident. And with a clear CTA. See the difference? You're giving the AI a specific role, a strict length, a defined audience, and a required tone. Steering leaves absolutely zero room for guesswork.
Section 2. Core prompting techniques.
So how do we actively steer? Well, the foundation of any strong prompt is setting the scene. You should literally always assign 4 things: a role, an audience, a tone, and a format. Beyond that, start using delimiters, things like brackets or quotation marks, to separate your actual instructions from the raw data you want the AI to analyze. Oh, and here's a massive pro tip. Always start a fresh chat for a new task, so your old context doesn't bleed in and confuse the model. And if you hate typing out all these tiny details, just use voice dictation on your phone or computer. You can add so much rich detail effortlessly just by talking. Notice how incredibly airtight this instruction is. It doesn't just casually say, reply to this angry customer. No, it explicitly dictates the persona, a customer support lead. It maps out sequential steps: acknowledge, apologize, confirm, and offer a next step. And it slaps a hard constraint on the word count. If you write prompts like this, I promise you, you will never get a meandering, inappropriate response again. All right, moving on to a technique that is an absolute game changer: few-shot prompting. Instead of just describing what you want and crossing your fingers, you provide the model with a few concrete input-to-output examples. AI models are exceptionally good at recognizing patterns, so doing this is basically like fine-tuning the model on a tiny scale right inside your prompt. It is absolutely perfect for strict formatting or classification tasks.
Take this example of mapping messy user feedback into short, clean ticket titles. Instead of hoping the AI understands the format, we literally show it. We say, here is a piece of feedback, and here is exactly how the title should look. By giving it these specific examples, the model instantly infers the rule. It locks onto the pattern and returns perfectly formatted, parsable text every single time.
Now let's see how this applies to logic and math. If you're using an older model or calling an API in the background, a non-reasoning AI will very often jump to the completely wrong conclusion if you just ask for the final answer outright. The magic fix here is called chain of thought prompting. You just add one simple phrase to the end of your prompt, reason step by step before giving the final answer. This forces the model to actually map out its logic, which drastically reduces hallucinations and errors.
Okay, in the modern AI era, especially where we have autonomous agents calling other tools and updating databases, getting a chatty conversational reply isn't just annoying, it actually breaks things. You often need structured output, like JSON or XML. The key here is to provide an exact schema, essentially a blueprint of the exact data format you need back.
But to guarantee this works perfectly, you have to include one crucial instruction at the very end: output valid JSON only, no other text. See, AI models are trained to be super helpful and polite, so they love to start by saying, "Here is your JSON data," which immediately breaks your automated workflow. You have to explicitly ban that conversational filler so your output plugs seamlessly into your code.
And that brings us to one of the most underutilized techniques out there: constraints and negative instructions. Often, the absolute most powerful steering mechanism isn't telling the AI what to do, it's explicitly telling it what it should not do. Banning certain formats, forbidding specific words, or severely constraining the length often yields a much tighter, vastly more accurate result than purely positive instructions.
This before and after perfectly highlights the power of negative constraints. By using an instruction like "do not start with welcome" or a generic greeting, or banning overused AI phrases like "thank you for your patience," you force the model right out of its default robotic habits. The result? You get punchy, highly professional text that actually sounds like a real human wrote it.
Here's the reality check. Your very first prompt is rarely going to land perfectly. But instead of getting frustrated and starting from scratch, treat the process like a dynamic conversation. Use iterative refinement. Just tell it to make the previous output shorter, or maybe a bit more formal. Or better yet, use interview-style prompting. Let's face it, we humans are lazy. We constantly omit crucial context in our heads. So hand the model your ultimate goal and command it to interview you to get the missing pieces.
A fantastic prompt for this is simply, before you write it, interview me one question at a time. By doing this, the AI takes the wheel and systematically extracts the target audience, the company size, the tone, the whole shebang. Once it has precisely what it needs from you, it will finally possess the perfect context to write an incredibly accurate piece of content. Section 3. Advanced Prompting Strategies.
Now that you've got the core tools down, let's elevate you to true expert status. If you're building apps or playing around in API playgrounds, you have access to technical parameters like system prompts. These are basically background rules completely hidden from the normal user, like secretly telling the AI, always reply in French. It creates an always-on identity. Then there's the temperature parameter, which essentially controls randomness. A low temperature makes the AI highly deterministic and factual, which is absolutely crucial for coding or strict data extraction. But crank that temperature up, it becomes way more random and creative, which is exactly what you want for brainstorming wild marketing ideas.
Another absolute necessity for advanced users is prompt chaining. Listen, never ask an AI to complete a massive multi-part project in one giant prompt. It will lose focus and hallucinate. Instead, break the complex task down. Step 1. Generate the outline in JSON. Check it. Step 2. Expand one specific section to exactly 400 words. Check it. Step 3. Write the SEO meta tags based on that finished draft. Verifying the output of each discrete step guarantees a massively higher quality final product.
You know, you can even leverage AI to evaluate its own work, which is a huge time saver. But here is the secret trick. You must do this in a completely fresh chat session, and you must explicitly claim that you wrote the text. If you just say, "Hey, critique this text you just wrote," the model has an inherent bias to defend its own AI-generated output. So tell it you wrote it, ask for an objective 1 to 5 rating, and demand the single most important improvement to apply. Section 4. Common mistakes and fixes.
Okay, let's quickly calibrate by reviewing the most common pitfalls and exactly how to fix them immediately. The whole trick here is knowing which levers to pull. If your output is generic, your prompt was too vague. Fix it by adding a specific role and format. If the model mixed up instructions, you crammed way too many tasks into one attempt. Fix it by splitting them into chain steps. If it's giving you the wrong style, drop in a few-shot example pair. If it keeps ignoring your formatting, explicitly demand only the exact structure and ban chatty text. And if it's forgetting things halfway through, just remember that context windows have limits. You need to summarize the key facts and start a fresh thread.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer. The theory we've unpacked today is crucial, but just watching and listening isn't enough. Prompt engineering is essentially a muscle. It's a highly practical, hands-on skill. The more you practice steering, the faster you'll instinctively see what works. So armed with all these techniques, from negative constraints to interview-style prompting, what is the very first complex task you're going to break down and successfully steer today?